Okay, well, we got two of the three 450 riders here, so we'll go ahead and get things started. We'll go ahead and get started with today's first place overall finisher, Adam Cianciarulo. Adam, first ever 1-1 in the Premier 450 class, second consecutive win for you. Overall, a good day on points. I think you're within 15 of Zach now for the championship lead. You want to run us through your day?
Yeah, the day was good. I mean, initially going out for practice, I was a little bit thrown off because the track was, as I'm sure you'll hear some of the other guys say, the track was pretty flat, which honestly I'm a kind of a fan of. I think it's cool seeing the natural characteristics of each track come out. It kind of reminds me of like early 2000s motocross, the stuff that we're able to go in different areas of the track, which I find to be kind of fun and good for passing and all that stuff. But as far as my day, I felt great from the get-go, and both practices felt really good, and just at a really good spot with myself and the bike right now, and it makes it a lot of fun going out there and doing our best every time. And obviously another two great starts today. I don't think I got the official hole shot like in the second moto, but I was able just to kind of make it happen in the first turn and go around the outside. But yeah, obviously leading start to finish in both motos, a 1-1. That's not something I've done in the past, even in the in the 250 class. So, and it's honestly, even winning the championship in that division last year, it was something that I kind of wished I had accomplished, getting a 1-1, and now to do it in the premier class, it means a lot to me. I'm proud of the day, proud of the team.
Awesome. Thank you. Justin, can you hear us now? I think Justin's having some technical difficulties, so we'll go ahead and move to second place finisher, Blake Baggett. Blake, two consistent motos, 2-2 on the day. Seems to be that things are really clicking for you the last couple weeks. You want to walk us through your day and how you feel heading into the final part of the season?
Yeah, I mean, things were good today. 2-2. Of course, I would love to have Adam's results of a 1-1. But just I gave it my best shot. I gave it everything I had, and there was some places where I maybe left some out there and wasn't able to get the job done. But definitely, heading in the right direction. It's been a huge improvement from the beginning of the season. And just everything's been going good since Moto2 at Redbud kind of got some things sorted out, and it's been unreal.
Thanks, Blake. And then Justin Barcia, can you hear us yet? Okay, we'll go ahead and open things up for questions. Johnny, we'll start with you.
Thanks. This is Johnny with 2-4 Speed and MX Unfiltered. Blake, first question for you. That downhill and probably the largest downhill of the track, seemed like you had that. You were going really fast going down there. Was there something that you were doing differently? Were you dragging the rear brake with accelerating to get over some of those bumps? Were you just late braking?
To be honest, I have no idea. I was just sending it to see, I mean, pretty much just wide open from, once you crested the top, it was pretty slippery up top. So once you crested and got head down the hill, it was pretty much wide open. And then try and find a good 6-inch path of somewhere where there was the least amount of bumps, or whatever I thought was the least amount of bumps. So yeah, it's one of those things where you're just pinning it and then on the brakes.
Okay. It seemed like the track wasn't ripped extremely deep. Do you like the way it transformed, or do you think it made everyone closer together, because it seemed like the top 8 of you or so were doing roughly around the same lap times. Do you think it being a little bit rougher might have given some of you guys an advantage, or did you like how the track was?
I definitely think that it could have been, ripped up and dissed. It was so fast. It was like scary fast in some sections, just wide open. So I think it definitely could have had some more lines and some more ruts, and maybe would have made different. So, but it was just slippery. And then, I had the cushion and for traction.
Well, congratulations on the 2-2. My next question is for you, AC. Congratulations on your first 1-1. At the end of the season, do you see yourself as champ? And I know that first round, do you ever think about, man, just statistically, if I wouldn't have fallen down and gotten that 38, I'd be the points leader right now?
The answer to your first question, I would say, I think I'm capable of being a champion. I've obviously done it before in a different class, but I'm riding well. I don't see why I can't continue, putting good performances in, getting good points, and maybe it shakes out, maybe it doesn't. But and I can kind of tie this into your second question. No, I don't think about really, where I would be if I didn't DNF, because I was trying my hardest and at Loretta's and felt good, and a mistake happened, and it happened, and it's the same thing I'm going to do from here on out. I obviously points are, I think it was like 40 down or something coming into the day, so now it looks a little bit realistic compared to how it was before. Definitely something that you think about. I'm not going to say I'm not going to think about it, but my mindset can't change. You can't really think about the top of the mountain yet. We have 3 races to go, so just putting one foot in front of the other, and everybody's really going fast right now, so they're going to have to keep ripping.
Well, just to follow up, where's all your confidence coming from? Because today couldn't have gone any more perfect with pretty much both hole shots and leading every lap.
Obviously I had a great weekend at Red Bud. Was able to, get my first moto win, and I think it just becomes more normal, right? Like today I got out front, and I just, instead of being like, holy crap, I'm in the lead, which is kind of how I was feeling at Ironman and just a little bit at Red Bud. Now I'm not necessarily like, I just felt like I was riding, a normal moto. It just becomes more normal as you get used to it. But I've always had the confidence in my ability. I know I can do it, but certainly easier once you get the ball rolling in the right direction, and then you start thinking to yourself, like, why can't I do it again this moto? Why can't I do it again? So just kind of going to keep, with that mindset for as long as I can.
Thanks, AC. You definitely fought for both of them. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And then it looks like we have Justin on with us now. So Justin Barcia, 3rd place on the day, 5-4. You want to talk us a little bit about how Spring Creek was for you today?
Yeah, for sure. The day was good. It was definitely a struggle. I didn't really feel very comfortable all day. Was making tons and tons of changes, searching for the good stuff, but never really came to me. And then, I just pretty much rode as hard as I could all day, and did everything I could. And I honestly, I got quite lucky with what went on the second moto, and I was just able to charge, and I put myself in good positions. But all in all, it was extremely difficult day for me. Obviously those guys, Blake and AC rode extremely well, and there was a lot of other guys riding extremely well. So it was difficult, but stoked to be on the podium for sure.
And we'll go ahead and open it back up for questions. Dark Side.
Yeah, first one's for you, Blake. You had a couple of interesting lines today. The one I want to ask you about is the left-hander, sort of right after the whoops. You make the ride, and then you were jumping over that berm, it seemed like, and just hauling ass through there. Was that something just because you were carrying so much speed, or was there just something there that you felt was working? Well, that was just cool.
I really don't know. It's just one of those things where I think I ended up there somehow, and then just kept going there. The track was so weird with the way that it had like the soft cushions, and then it was just a super hard base, and pretty much everybody was, most people were running the paddle tire, and as soon as that tire hits that hard slick stuff, it's an unguided 450 at that point. So just holding on to it and trying to sort of point it in the right direction.
Right. You mentioned on the podium that, after last week, you realized, hey, I like this. I remember how this feels and I can do this. Was there anything that's changed during the season? I know at the beginning of the season, there was some stuff with mechanics going on and just stress under the tent maybe. Was there anything like that was bothering you, or was it just you finding something that was comfortable with the bike and your program?
Yeah, it was really just, we changed a clutch assembly part, a part of it on the bike. It has to do with the clutch. And then we changed that for second moto at Redbud. It changed a lot, to be honest. It's like riding a whole different bike.
Well, it seems to be working. It was cool. Good show. Adam, we got one for you. And this kind of ties into what you were saying earlier, but going into earlier in this season, you talked about you didn't want to be the guy that kept washing the front end, or, you wanted to work on your consistency, and now you're winning motos. Has your thought process, has the way you're going to proceed changed any? Are you over that, or that mindset of, okay, I don't want to make those little mistakes, or you past that?
Well, I mean, yeah, nobody wants to make those mistakes. And I'm sure I've said that before, but I never go out, as soon as you tell yourself, I don't want to do this, all you're doing is basically telling your mind that, like, to do that, essentially. So I never go out there with the mindset of, like, don't crash. Like, that's a surefire way to crash. So for me, I mean, even beginning of the season, Supercross, everything, I pride myself in just giving my best effort every time I'm out there, and it doesn't always work out. And even with stuff that I've left out there on the table, like results wise in the past, because of little crashes and stuff, it's really not that hard for me to to come to terms with it, because I know I'm doing everything I can, and I know I'm not lazy. I know I'm putting in the work during the week. So it's one of those things where I'm trying to get the most out of myself, and it's like I said earlier, it's easier now once you have the ball rolling a little bit and you prove to yourself over and over again that you can do it, and things just start to happen a little bit easier, and it's as simple as that.
Okay, thanks. That's all I got.
Dan Lamb.
Yeah, for UAC, how pumped are you on your fitness after today? I mean, in that first moto, Blake pulled like a 2:03 out of his butt with like lap 15, and you responded with your two best laps of the whole race, your last two laps. So you got to be pumped on how your fitness is looking.
Yeah, I feel good for sure. I mean, today wasn't the gnarliest day in the world with, the track being pretty fast and then the weather being just awesome. It was great out there. So it wasn't one of those crazy gnarly days, but still it's tough to, be out there out front leading every lap and having those guys on you. You definitely have to, push hard, and it's heart rate's still up there for sure. So I think for me coming into the season, I was a little bit behind the 8 ball with my back injury from Supercross, and I've kind of progressively been able to ramp up my cardio and my bike time during the week. So I'm definitely starting to see the gains from that perspective. It's nice to go out there and have the confidence that you can, really put it down when you need to those last 10 minutes, because you can be as fast as you want for 20, 25 minutes. And if you don't have the rest in the bag, you're going to get like 5th or 6th every time. So definitely was stoked I was able to keep Blake behind me, man. He was riding great today.
Yeah, I think the second moto was the same. I think your best lap was right at the end too. How are you feeling about these last 3 races? There are 3 tracks where you won 2 of them and finished on the podium at the other last year. How do you feel about these last 3 with 15 points to make up?
Yeah, I feel good about them. Obviously, to be completely honest, like on a 250, the WW type conditions weren't my favorite. I always felt being a little bit bigger was, I was just maybe it was just in my head, but it was just, I was a little bit behind the 8 ball. But those are the conditions I ride in every day now, and I feel way, way more comfortable on the bigger bike, and hopefully that translates well. And then as far as Colorado and Paula go, those are, I wouldn't say, or Fox Raceway, I wouldn't say Fox Raceway is my favorite track in the world, but I did well there last year. And then Thunder Valley is one of my favorite tracks in the world. So definitely think that we're in a good spot. And like I said earlier, not really thinking about points, just going to go out there moto by moto, hopefully keep getting some good starts and see what we can do.
Nice. And for Blake, that's got to feel good to be able to throw down a 203 that late in the race. And were you surprised how well Adam responded to you at the end of the race there? Because you were pushing hard.
Yeah, I was trying to catch him off guard. I had to do a little reset back there, and he didn't budge. He stepped it up for sure, because I felt like I got to his rear wheel, and then he went. So I was doing everything I can behind him. I'm sure he didn't see it, but I was trying everywhere there was, inside, outside, top, bottom. I was going everywhere, and he was solid. So he rode awesome. He did great. 1-1 on the day. Both motos I gave it my last ditch best effort to get in there towards the end, and he responded. So I will just move on to I'll take my and maybe me and him will be battling again at Jacksonville.
We caught most of that. For Justin, how deep is this field? No matter where you are in this pack and was inside the top 10, there's always a battle, and it seems like you're battling more and more in that 5th, 6th, 7th place spot. It seems deeper this year than it has been in the last couple.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. I just think obviously the field's stacked. I think it's always stacked. I'm just making it look like that just because I start pretty much last place every race. So, I mean, it's brutal, man. It's everyone's on it. So it's like there's you go through a pack of guys and then you get like a break, and then there's another pack, and then the leaders are up front. So it's like it's no joke for sure. Everybody's, riding really, really well. And, it's definitely not the funnest thing coming from the back, but and it's not, I mean, there was years where you could do it, but like your question, yeah, I mean, the field is definitely stacked. I don't know if it's obviously more than some years, but yeah, it's definitely pretty gnarly battle with the guys, and it seems like I always kind of come together with somebody unintentionally or not. Like even today, like I passed Savachi on the outside, and he came together with me, and I didn't think nothing of it, and I saw him at the start, the second moto, and he's like, "Oh man, sorry, dude, I lost my rear brake." so it was kind of one of those like, finally it wasn't me.
Well, that was my next question. So thanks for jumping ahead of me. I appreciate it.
No worries. Thanks.
Kellen, go ahead.
Yeah, Kellen Brower with Racer X. I just have a question for Adam. You spoke after the first moto about kind of how well you feel in a situation where you're being pressured like Blake was most of that moto. What is it about that specific scenario that you feel gets the best out of you?
That's a good question. I think I'm reluctant to bring up anything from amateurs just because most of it doesn't apply. But I mean, since I was a kid, like that's kind of been, I've been fortunate enough to be in that position quite a bit, like getting a good start and being out front and having guys behind me. And I think it just comes from a lot of repetition of just being a kid and kind of being in that situation. As weird as that sounds, I feel I've always felt like a comfort with it. Even, when I first turned pro on a 250, and obviously now it's different, right? I mean, like I talked to you guys about, like an Ironman, leading the laps in the 450 race, it's different. You have to get used to it. But I feel like I've done, like some of my best races as a pro have been when somebody's like right on me, and I just always feel kind of just locked in, and it just keeps me focused on what I'm doing. And yeah, I'm not quite sure, but hopefully I can keep that trend rolling.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
And we'll turn it over to you, Alex.
Yeah, Alex Gober at MotoOnline.com. This one's for Adam as well. You obviously made up a lot of ground in the championship today. So you mentioned that you didn't really notice when you went past Zach to put him a lap down. So what do you think you know, what happened today with your 1-1 and his troubles, how much does that change the dynamic for the championship? And do you think he'll be carrying a different mindset? I know you said yours will remain the same, but what do you think his will be like?
I mean, it's tough to say. I would hate to speak for Zach. I mean, I think before you having, I think you had 30 points or something like that. I think it would be easy. Not saying he was like in that mindset at all, but it would be easy to start being a little bit more defensive than you would be, even with a few rounds to go. I know from past experience myself, and kind of feeling that way, you know, just not really hanging it out on the edge. But, you know, now with the points a little bit closer, I'm sure he'll be a little bit more on the offense. But, you know, I think everybody has bad races, and, you know, it's a bummer that he had a flat tire, but stuff happens, and, you know, it's never easy to win a championship. So I'm sure he'll bounce back and be right up there in the battle next weekend. Yeah, he's a great rider. So looking forward to doing battle the rest of the year.
No worries. Thank you.
Weege, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Jason Wygant from Racer X. Blake, I'll start with you. It seemed like after the first moto on the podium, you were really excited over the possibility of getting an overall win. Now that things are rolling for you, are you still happy to go 2-2 and have a solid podium day? Because that is better than where you were at the beginning of the year. Or are you getting antsy now to get a victory kind of while you're hot?
Yeah, getting a little antsy for sure. No, I'll take a 2-2. Definitely. I'll take that bonus money all day, every day. So, yeah, excited on the 2-2. And, yeah, the first moto, I felt that I was there. So, Adam, you know, I attacked and he responded, so I wasn't able to get that one. But then second moto, I just was off a little bit to be able to be close enough to try something. And then I made a ditch effort there towards the end, and when I felt like I got close to him, he responded again. So one of those things. But yeah, definitely, I'd love to get an overall win. I think it's been a few years now. So just got to try to be better.
All right, thanks, Blake. Hey, for Adam, you've mentioned this a few times on the podium that, you know, you had like a slump there in Supercross, and then the beginning of the year crashing out of that moto, and it's like you're trying and things don't work, and then all of a sudden things roll your way. Now, can you describe, like, even say Monday morning when you got to get up and go back to work, so to speak, how is it make it easier to put in the work, especially in an extra long season like this when now you've got wind in your sails?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah, the Monday morning drives to the track are the easiest thing in the world after a good weekend. I think to expand on that, though, I think when you're kind of struggling, and I was just kind of struggling for a while since, you know, I broke my collarbone at Dallas, and then we had the whole COVID thing happen, and then, you know, get all antsy for Salt Lake, and I went out there and just absolutely destroyed myself like a half a lap into the race, and you're like, man, you know, I put in so much work doing all this stuff, and the Loretta's thing as well, and you're just not seeing it happen. But I kind of have been like, I've just had to develop a mindset over time, because we know that I've had to overcome some stuff of just like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just keep doing the right things. And ultimately, I believe in my ability. I know that's not the problem. So I just believe if I keep doing the right things that it's going to work out, and I'm going to be where I'm supposed to be. So that's kind of what makes it, I wouldn't say it's easy during the week when it's not going your way, but it makes it easier for sure, knowing that, you know, I believe I am on the right track, on the right program, and doing the right thing. So there's a little bit of a sense of, like, a little bit more, I guess, like less emotional, I guess you would say, from weekend to weekend for me. You know, it's not like a crazy high on Monday or vice versa when it goes bad.
Yeah, and then on the same topic here, you go 1-1, which I'm sure is good. And then when did you find out that Osborne and also Marv, who was second in points, they had bad motos? You actually said on TV you didn't see Osborne when you lapped him. So when did you find that out, and how did that make you feel? Or were you able to keep that part in check too?
Yeah, I didn't see Zach. I didn't know what happened to him. I didn't know where anybody finished I was full tunnel vision all day long. I I didn't even read any jersey numbers out there. Like you normally, check some jerseys when you're lapping some guys, and I just wasn't seeing anything. I was just locked in, and I think my mechanic or maybe my crew chief Oscar told me about the points are pretty close. I think I was 40 or something down going into the weekend, so it's not even something that you're thinking about at all. And I had no idea where those guys finished until I was sitting under the tent right there before I went on the podium. So definitely, it's definitely nice to have a good day where you win the race, and then in that department, going from where I'm pretty much out of it to I guess pretty much in it, it's a good feeling.
Do you have to, as you're saying, check that and try to not be too emotional about it, and just obviously the last 2 races, the way you've approached it has worked well. So you have to like take a step back and be like, don't do anything different, regardless of the points.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really something. It was something that I had to keep in check at one point in my life and in my career. But at this point, I just from being around so many guys like Dungy and Villapoto and guys that consistently and Ken when consistently winning races and kind of dominating, you see that level-headedness in them, and that's just a way I've tried to teach myself to be. And I mean, I get stoked. You guys know I get stoked. I'll throw some crazy fist pumps and yell and scream or whatever, but that's just me being excited and being passionate about it. It's not something, it's not something that I dwell on, whether it's good or bad, for a long time after. I'm not waking up on Monday and, high-fiving the person who makes my coffee at Starbucks. I try to fall back into the same routine and just try to keep it even keel. It's a long season. We do a lot of races, and I want to be doing this for a long time. So that's kind of the way to do it.
I got one last thing. I'll throw this at you, Justin Barcia. This was weird, obviously, the fact that we're racing in the fall. That wasn't the plan. It's just the way it had to work out. Is there any merit to this? Have you thought to yourself at all, like, hey, this wouldn't be bad? Obviously, you'd want to know about it in advance so you guys aren't grinding for 3 months for no reason, which is kind of what happened this year. But do you enjoy racing this time of year, or you wish everything was just over like it normally would be?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I've enjoyed the weather. The weather's been great. I can't complain about that whatsoever. I think with the COVID and stuff, the track prep, like, I don't know if they're trying to save money or what, because that's what it seems like. So I would say, like, them not ripping up the track this weekend was very strange. But other than that, like, I think this is great. And we had plenty of time to test before the season, which was sick. So I think, like, it would be lovely if Supercross and Motocross could work together and give us like more time to, get our bikes set up and things like that. And then, obviously, like I said, the weather's, pretty good. I can't complain. Obviously, I live in Florida and like the heat and stuff, but all in all, today was a beautiful day out there, and it was cool to, like, I've been doing this for quite a long time now, and you get used to where you go the same time every year. And this year the trees were changing colors, and not to get corny or nothing, but it was pretty cool.
Thanks. What about you, Blake? What's your take on it? To me, I'm seeing some potential positives here that I would have never imagined because we never had to try this. What do you think? Is this an okay schedule, or you just wish we'd go back to get this season over with like we normally do?
I think we've lost Blake due to connection issues, Weege.
All right, Adam, what do you think about that? Thanks.
Man, I wish I was paying attention to you, Weege. I really do.
I know it wasn't addressed to you. This is a weirdo schedule. Is it bad because it's just longer, or do you almost enjoy if this was the normal schedule, a big break between and then race into the fall? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, I think everybody's probably, I mean, it's like Justin said, the weather's been great, and for me, missing a few races before COVID and then the Salt Lake and missing most of the races in Salt Lake, I haven't raced as much as most of the guys, so I'm still pretty fresh and enjoying going to the races every weekend. But at this point, I would imagine it would, under normal circumstances, it would start to get a little bit stressful because it's, we're looking at, assuming the races start on January 9th or whatever, we're looking at, 2 weeks off the bike and then getting right back into training camp again. So I could see that being kind of a problem for some guys, including myself, if you had a full season under your belt. but I think everybody's different.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Well, that'll be it for tonight. Adam, Blake, Justin, thanks for taking the time to join us this evening, and good job today. And we'll see you guys in a week.
Thank you.
Thanks. See you guys.
See you guys.